Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Okay, I'll try that. I'm Shawn with Manly Made Minute, and today we're going to do an old school technique that I didn't realize this was an old school technique until recently having a little visit with some crafty friends talking about this and went, oh, yeah, I did do this as a kid. So this one's thanks to my friend Sandy, who's like, have you ever tried this? And I was like, no, but cool idea. I'll try it. So we're going to try it. But I have done this, but not on a card. So we're going to do a masking tape technique. Good old roll of masking tape. I actually had to go buy a new roll because I didn't have any here. And we're going to take this masking tape and we're just going to tear it in little pieces and tape it all over our card. Then we're going to ink blend over it. Now, those of you that may be old enough to remember, back in the crafting days of school, we did these on bottles. And then you would take stain or shoe polish and antique it so it gets in the crevices and then the teared pieces of the tape and looks antiqued. Forgot about that completely. I've done the bottle, haven't done a card. So today on a card, we're going to try this and then we're going to do this with ink. And I want to do different colors, so I'll do different colors and just patches here to see how those colors look on this masking tape. Okay? So before I go down, show you what I'm going to do. I'll probably cut to finish this and then cut back after taping all this on there because that's probably going to take a while. And then we'll cut back to inking this. Before I head down, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me here on YouTube and Instagram where I post all kinds of card hops, design team stuff. I do lives, all kinds of stuff, and would love to have you part of the Manly Made Minute community and learn as I learn and share as I share. So don't forget to give me that thumbs up if you like what I'm doing as well. Let's give this a try, show you what I'm talking about, and see how this looks on a card with our inks that we have. All right? Okay, here's how this works. You're going to take this piece of masking tape now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to tear this up in little pieces and start covering your card panel. Now I'm doing a card panel because I have a card I want to make out of this just to see. I've got some stuff sitting here on my desk from other cards that, you know, again, scraps, and I thought, well, this might work for this card. So once we get this taped up, we're going to look and see if I can make a card out of this little piece of creative card I've had sitting over here. And you're going to cover this whole panel. This is a panel that is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So obviously this is going to take me a little while to cover this up. Now, not going to lie, this was cheap masking tape. So as you can see as I lay this down, it's kind of see-through. So I actually am going to layer this up, and I'm going to keep layering until I get the opacity that I want. I don't want to see the white of the card base, so I'll just keep layering over these pieces and covering this whole panel and repeating, so just covering up so it's not as opaque. I'm going to finish this card, ripping up these little pieces of paper. Then I will be back and we're going to ink blend this with a couple different colors just to see how the shades come out. And we're going to use a dark color just as the old school way of staining and doing the browns and things to bring that out. And then I might actually put some elements down here to see if this can make a card. All right, I'm going to finish applying this and we'll be back. Okay, here's my card panel completely covered up in small pieces of tape. I went through and layered over it a couple times, not completely, just random covering up white spots until I got it layered up. And then I just went through and just kind of pushed down to make sure my tape is down all over. And then this is what you end up with. So now I'm going to take a couple different colors. I chose these colors because they match this element that I've had from another project. I had an extra piece of, this is the Nymph creative cards from Bruce Monroe, layered on a piece of glossy paper. And I'm going to see if this will work as an element here. I've cut out some leaves to try to match this with a little vellum. And we're going to match some colors here. So let's just start with, I'm going to go kind of light to dark. I'm going to start with my light blue. And I'm hoping that I can see the blue on this tape. Oh, that actually kind of works. Not too shabby, actually. I do feel like it's going to take a little thick layer to get it to grab on the edges of the tape. Light will work, but I don't think you're going to get the dimension from it that you should get from this technique. And you got some of that khaki brown of the tape showing through, just so you know. It's not going to be completely blue. It's not going to cover that up completely. All right, now I got 3 different shades of these aquas to throw in here to match this element. I figured this would give me that watery kind of feel with that mixed media texture. I'm loading this up pretty good to get that color to pop on this tape. I think I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest. Yet another just technique. Here's what I like about this. Any beginner card makers out there, you've got to have a roll of masking tape in the house, right? We all do. I didn't. I had to go buy that roll, but most people are going to have a roll of this masking tape. I have paper or cardstock. Most people have that. If you're a beginner card maker, that's going to be the first investment you're going to need anyway, is cardstock. So you can take that cardstock, cut yourself a panel, masking tape this up. If you're a beginner card maker, second thing you're going to need to invest in is some basic colors of ink. That's it. So I'm making this basically out of household items, to be honest. All right, there is your card panel. I'm going to dry this up just because of the texture that you probably saw in video there. My fingertips were lifting this up a little bit because of the texture of the tape. So we're just going to dry this a little bit and then layer up my elements on here just to see how this looks as a card base. We're going to add that brown edging to this too with my distress. A little scorched timber on there. Okay, let's just give ourselves a little scorched timber. So now this is just that darker stained edge. So you can kind of see how this gives you that more antiqued kind of finish if you were to do this all over. You're going to have to let this dry. I can see it pulling off the tape a little bit, so you will want to let this dry. You can see my fingerprints lifting some of that up. Okay. There we have it. Now, let's just assemble a little bit more and beyond than tips or the trying something here, but I just thought, since this to me is a little unusual kind of background, let's just see how it works on a card. Why not? And I'll glue this down. I'll try not to get my fingerprints on this card so it'll dry, but for video purposes. And then we'll layer some leaves behind there and see what we get for an element. Get that last dimensional off of there. There we go. And just glue that down in the center. You can almost get a stained glass, shattered glass kind of feel from this. I think this would just totally be what colors you choose. which will help change this up, you know. I just kind of chose colors that matched everything here. And I think I'm going to need a couple more pieces of vellum. I think that vellum will look nice with this. So we'll leave it at that for now. Just to kind of show you, I think this is a great background. This totally changes things up depending on the color. You could antique this and just go antique colors and have this as an antique look. But again, a very easy way to do a card, a very cheap way. This is a very beginner way. You've got household items. You can still make a cool background out of this as a beginner card maker. All right, let's go back up to the face cam, show you this side. Hopefully those leaves don't fall off. I think that's great. I think this is an easy way to make a background of some very easy household items. So thank you all so much for hanging with me, seeing how this worked for the first time for me, even though I did this on a bottle, I think when I was probably 12 years old, but never on a card and never with this type of ink. So there you have it. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up. And until next time, I'll see you then.